Salam and welcome back to the SMP podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing boundaries and self love. We'll be delving into what boundaries are and how to implement boundaries, not only for yourself, but also for family, friends, and those around you. We'll be sharing our personal thoughts and real life situations which inspire this episode. This will be part one of our mini series, so sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I don't know if you remembered our last conversation that we had. I started talking about boundaries,
Yes,
right? And I was
you
like, dude,
did.
my family's driving me crazy. And I need to set some boundaries because it's just gotten to a point where I literally don't have me time. Like I
Yeah.
literally just used to wake up in the morning and it's like your mom is complaining about something, or there's some family situation, some drama going on where you need to come in and you need to like help them figure out the problem.
Neutralize the
And
situation. Yeah.
constantly. And I feel like a lot of times, I guess like it's interesting because you're the oldest. So it's
Yes.
interesting that you're still like dealing with a lot of like quote unquote middle child stuff. Like I know it's a
100%.
middle child thing where they like mediate all the time and they're kind of the glue in the family and they're the ones that know like the roundabouts of what's going on and they tend to sacrifice a lot more. Maybe it's generalizing, but I've seen that with a lot of middle kids.
I
So
have
like,
to, in all fairness.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So like I didn't really realize how much I was overextending like family and with friends,
Mm,
family and with friends, like to the point where I was like, dude, why is my energy so depleted all the time? And I feel like I'm losing like a sense of identity sometimes.
mm.
Like I just forget myself. Like, when you're so caught up in the drama or like things that are going on, you like literally forget what is important to you or what you like to do.
You forget your goals. You forget
Dude,
everything that you set
yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, okay, I
Totally
can
get
put this aside for later. This isn't important right now. Like there's bigger, better things going on right now. This is not something I need to focus on. And so you
Yeah.
tend to like kind of forget yourself in the craziness of it all. And so like to be the type of person who's really like critical about myself. And like I
Yes.
want to improve. It's
Yes.
like out of like the goodness of improving. It's not like me being toxic, though at times I can be.
No,
But it's like
you've sort of made that
yeah,
distinguished those sort of
exactly.
yeah. Yeah. No,
So
no, I
like it
totally
comes
get
from a place of me trying to actually grow and like be self like aware, but like I came to a realization about myself where it was like, damn, I actually don't have boundaries
yeah.
like
Yeah.
with anybody. Like I realized like, oh my God, I literally am overextending myself to the point where I've exhausted myself mentally and emotionally.
You burn
And then
yourself out.
you burn yourself out. And then on top of that, it's like you kind of lose a sense of identity. And I think like boundaries is not something we're taught at any age. If anything, especially women, we're taught to not have any. And
No,
if you have
there is none.
any,
Mm.
dude, and if you have any, it's like you're being selfish. And it's
You
like,
are.
bro,
You're a selfish
right?
person, or there's something wrong with you. Yeah, you're not
Dude,
allowed to have boundaries
exactly.
as a female,
As a
unfortunately.
female, literally as a female, and especially like if you come from like a family of color, there's
You
definitely
do.
like
You
that
do.
thing of like you got to sacrifice for the family, you got to put your family first, you got to put the needs of your family first.
You
And it's
do.
like if you have any needs or something you disagree with or something that you don't think works, it's like, oh, God forbid you say I don't want to do that. Like
Yeah.
God forbid you say you don't want to do that.
Not
You know
allowed.
what I
Not
mean?
allowed.
It's
You can't
not
say
allowed.
that. Sophie, you should know better.
Exactly, dude. And I
Yeah.
think that this realization came from, and I'll share some personal stories that happened literally from the time that I've been talking to you,
Wow.
is I realized I didn't have boundaries.
Mm.
So I actually started reading a book called literally, I should honestly be a spokesperson for this girl's book because I've told so many people about it, but it's called Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Glover Tawaab. For a second, I thought she was Muslim, but she's not. She just has a really cool name. But she wrote this book. It's literally so great because it breaks down what is even boundaries, right? And like what does it mean to set a boundary? And it's like in different contexts, right? In the workplace, with your family, and with your friends. So I started reading this book and I'm like, yo, I'm none of these things. Like, I'm none of these things. And I honestly used to be the type of person that would like act really strong and independent and be like the kind of come off as someone that like will say no to things that they're not down for, or be
Mm.
the type of person that will be like, I would never overextend myself for anybody. But then I realized in so many situations I've been doing only that because it's like a sense of like subconsciously, I feel like I can't say no. And
I think
especially with
it's
family.
because life is real. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not it's easy to sit there and be like, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z. But
Mm-hmm.
when you actually experience certain things, this is when it comes to practice. You have to
Mm-hmm.
kind of like you have to practice what
What you preach.
what yeah, exactly what you
Yeah.
preach, and what you think you should say no to, and say, okay, this is fine, and that kind of thing. That's when you have to, that's how you set your boundaries basically in real life
Exactly.
situations. But yeah, I
Exactly.
totally get where you're coming from.
So yeah, so 100% exactly what you said. And I think like I didn't really realize how boundaryless I was up until I ended up in a situation where a sexual harassment situation that happened at work. Right. So like I know like women have dealt, especially women. I know men deal with this stuff too, right?
Mm.
But like unwanted, very undertone type of comments that people tend to make of the opposite gender to you that are really inappropriate. But like in the moment, it's weird. We're always in like a survival context of like, oh dude, okay, let me just I tend to be the type of person that will like let things go and just like it's fine, it's not that big a deal, right?
Keeping the peace.
Exactly. And I've been kind of like that my whole life when situations were like that, but I didn't realize until this specific situation at work where I had a guy that I don't work directly with. Like he's not my supervisor, he's not a coworker, he just happens to be a guy in a different department. And we work at the same organization. And this dude was we were working for this, like there's this one event where I had to work a lot with him one-on-one. It required a lot of one-on-one time with him. And obviously I tend to be a very cordial, casual type of person because again, it's like I know it's a workplace, but
Very.
I know, right? Like I know it's the workplace, but at the same time, like I don't want to have this like extremely professional, kind of relationship with someone. It's like you're still a human being. We're not here just
You
to
want
work.
to
Like you're a
just be
person.
down, you're just a down to earth
Yeah.
person. That's just part of your
That's
personality and
so
you.
cute. Thank you,
No,
Tess.
honestly.
Thank you. So I think with this guy, we did a lot of one-on-ones. And so a lot of obviously the conversations were revolved around work, but I
Yeah.
guess like because I was being quote unquote open for the lack of a better word, and I was being like asking some questions about just who he is and what he likes to do, maybe he took that in a way that it was like me inviting him or opening up a conversation. And mind you, by the way, this man is 65. He's not like 20, he's not
I
28.
beg your pardon?
I said 65 with 2 kids and a wife at his house. So I don't know if I was missing something, but I don't think I was because come on, that was so uncalled for.
Oh my
So it
God.
happened actually on our last day. So we had this like 3-day event or whatever. And on that last day, we were setting up some canopies or whatever. And so he's just jumped right in, really uncalled for. And he started asking me these extremely inappropriate questions.
Oh my
And obviously I'm
God.
not going to say all of them, but one of like a couple of them, one of them was like, do you have a boyfriend? Have you ever been kissed before? Yeah. So like, dude, I'm getting these questions, but in that moment, I didn't have the ability to like understand that
You
I'm in a
must have
like
been so shocked.
I was extremely shocked. And I mean, he said a couple of other things, but he really, and the way that I really knew this guy was coming on to me, this 65-year-old man, was that he literally had ended it with like, so you wouldn't date someone at your job? Like if, you were looking for someone or someone like me
You
that
know what you
happened to
should
be
have
around the
said?
workplace.
Possibly, but not old farts.
I'm dead,
That's
dude.
what you
Where's
should have
Taz?
said.
Taz, where are you when I need you, girl?
Girl, oh my God. I would have roasted this guy so bad.
I know, and I wish I had that capability, but I'm not like, I guess everyone process things differently. Like maybe
No,
you're
no,
able to process things,
I
right?
get it. I'm the
You know
same.
what I mean?
When you're in that situation, you don't
You
really
can't
process it the
process.
same way as if
Mm-mm.
you are sometime later, like a few hours down the line,
Yeah.
you just look back and you think, oh my God, what just happened? No, I
Yeah, and you're
totally
like,
get,
why did
yeah,
I
you
do
take your
that? Why
time.
did I do that? Yeah. And
Yeah.
like in this situation, and this is something like for a while I was kind of annoyed with myself and kind of disappointed that I did, was that I kept answering the questions. Like I was answering these questions and I'm
Poor
like, I
thing.
shouldn't have done that. I know. And I think like I honestly had done that because it's so wired into me to like accommodate a man and to like make sure I don't make him angry.
Yes.
Again, women. So like I just was doing everything that I needed to do just to not end up in a situation where it seemed dangerous, even though like my body, and this is something that I think is important to like really try and work on, is like listening to the signals your body sends.
Yeah.
So like if your body's like set, like if your heart rate is increasing
There's
and
a
you're
reason for that.
shaking, then you need to listen to that. That means that there's something that's off. And so obviously like I was shaking and my heart was beating really fast and I just literally felt
Poor thing.
nauseous. I
My
felt
God.
nauseous. Like I wanted to vomit.
Should
Because
have
this
done it
man
on
was
his
at,
head.
I don't know. It was just weird. Like this man was asking me, have I been kissed before? Like not even my brother would ask me that. Like that's just so weird. You don't ask someone that.
Can I ask
So
a
and
question?
I
What
know that was so
is
yeah,
he
go for it. Mhm.
is he he's not Muslim, right?
No. So he was
Does
he
he know
was
you're
non-Muslim,
Muslim?
non-Arab. He knew I was Muslim, but he doesn't know what Islam is. And so I tried like, and like I'm not gonna say that because he knows that I'm Muslim, he was acting this way. I think it was like he
Oh,
just
okay.
was completely ignorant about what Islam
Right.
was. So I tried to educate him a little bit, where I was like, I don't really date, or I don't really do these kind of things because my religion is like, it's not something that it promotes. And so when I get to know someone, it's more on the basis. And by the way, I don't know why I was explaining all this, but I thought I was doing some dawah. I don't even know. It probably didn't help, but whatever. But
You
I was
can't make
explaining,
da'wah to the shaitan.
I know. Taz, put that on a t-shirt. Put that
Oh,
on a
that's a really
t-shirt.
good one.
You can't
Merch
make
coming
dawah
out
out of
very, very
shaitan.
soon. Merch coming out soon.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
That's so good. But no, you're right. You really can't make dawah to the shaitan, because that guy was everything you could think of. But I was trying my best. I think I try to give people benefit of the doubt too. So I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, let me explain it to him. Maybe he doesn't really understand. And so I thought having this conversation of like, I don't really date. This is why I don't. I've never been with a guy before. Blah 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 blah. It was just crazy to him. He didn't understand. He just didn't get it. He's like, what do you mean? Like, that's so weird. Your religion is so weird. And I'm like, okay,
How
well
rude.
now it
God
was
damn.
really rude. It was extremely, extremely ignorant. And then yeah, when he came in with like, have you kissed a guy, and like, what about a guy like me, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oof.
He was actually suggesting himself.
He did. And this guy
Wow.
has 2 kids, by the way. His daughter is older than me,
Oh
and
my
he
God.
has a wife at home, which is crazy to me. So I'm hearing this stuff and I'm like, I knew that I needed to get out of the situation. I just didn't know how to. I just kept trying to like accommodate. I just tried to like brush things over. Like, I didn't want to say anything that made this guy feel maybe angry with me or whatever. So I was just doing what I needed to do just to get out of the situation. And so yeah, I did. I just maneuvered myself out, and I went and found these other coworkers that were also helping out, and I hung out with them the whole entire time. So
Mm.
I tried to like stay around people, stay in a public area, not be alone with them anywhere, because there were many times I was alone with him, but I thought I could trust him, because I'm like, I mean, this guy's 65 years old. We both work at this organization. Like, if he does anything, he's going to go down. Like, there's no
Yeah.
way he's going to risk it,
You think
in this kind of a situation.
it's a professional setting, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact of that his age as well. You think that he's got, enough self-respect to, understand what boundaries mean. But
Exactly.
unfortunately, that's not really the case, is it?
Yeah, yeah. And so honestly, it was that interaction that triggered something in me, that I was like, okay, I keep talking about boundaries, but what are they?
Mm.
Like, what are they? And how do I set them? So it was really like reading this book and then doing a lot of like self-reflection and like the past of where I haven't had boundaries, where I should have put some. And a lot of them had to do with men, by the way. I feel like with women, there's more of an ease for me to be able to set a boundary with a woman. Like, I
Yeah.
don't feel that intimidated when I do it, but
Mhm.
it's when the opposite gender, that's where I have a lot of difficulty in the past. Like with my brothers, I've had that issue. My father, I've had that issue. And then just random men I meet around, or like men that, I work with in the workplace, like this guy. So I realized that I have an issue. I mean, I have an issue generally, but it's specifically with men that I have an issue with setting boundaries. So I was like, okay, this is a problem. So I was really annoyed. Like, after I processed the situation, and I was really angry with myself for a bit.
Mm.
And then I was like, dude, why did I allow this to happen? And like, why has this happened? If anything, it was a really great, like, action, kind of like, it really kind of pushed me and catapulted me into like really learning about what boundaries are, and like taking action with it too. So what had happened is, this guy had done this, right? So the situation happened. And so my kind of first step was like, let me go tell my supervisor, let her kind of be the person that sets the
Good.
boundary for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me have her set the boundary for me, right? So I go to her and I give her the information. She's obviously appalled. She's like, oh my God, this should not be happening. And so she had a conversation with him, but obviously, like, she didn't want it. She wanted to like keep like keep me anonymous, and not really make the guy aware that it was me that said anything, just in case there would be any kind of repercussion that would happen.
Of course.
And for a week it was okay.
Oh
But
God.
then, and came literally right after that 1 week that I had, it was fine and we thought it worked out. He came back again, and he came, actually, I sit in the very corner. So the thing about where I sit is probably not that safe, because I sit all the way in the back of the office, right? So
Right.
just imagine like this big office. It's not an open space at all. If anything, there's a lot of doors and a lot of walls. So I sit in this like cube area in the very back of the corner of the office, where like, to get to the next person, you got to walk like 10-15 steps. So there's like this potential where you can kind of get someone in private and talk to them and no one can hear you.
Right. Okay.
So he waited until I was by myself, because I sit with like these other 2 girls in the back, but they both were in the office that day. It was just me. He waited till I was by myself. He comes into the office. He's acts like he's doing something, which it was like really creepy to me because it was just like he was lingering. Like, you know, when someone is like, you feel them looking at you, like,
Yeah. You can
like
see them at the corner of your eye. You can feel the presence, you know.
100%. Like, you just know that this person is looking at you. And so this guy comes and he like acts like he's filling up water. We have this water jug in the like behind me. So he like was filling up water and drinking water. And I'm like,
So he
dude, you're
never said
drinking like,
anything when he came in, never said
he
hi,
just goes,
nothing.
hey, he goes, hey, how's it going?
All
How's it
right,
going?
okay.
And then my back is like towards like the water jug is right behind me. And so my back is towards him. I try to see, let me see if you can read body language. So I don't even turn around and say hello. I just say hi from my desk. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he goes, how's it going with you? What have you know, how's everything going at work? I'm like, things are going great. So he's trying to have small talk with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, so where are we going to have breakfast?
Oh my God, what is wrong with this man?
And
Seriously?
then I know. And then I'm like, I don't actually eat breakfast. And he's like, oh, okay. Do you want me to get you some coffee? I just made some new coffee up in the front. And I'm like, I don't drink coffee. And then he goes, wow, I wish my wife was like you.
Oh my God. I'm a pain. That's all I can say, honestly. That is disgusting.
So I hear that and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not okay.
Oh my, you
What
must
I
have
need to
been
do,
terrified.
I was terrified. It was a couple of weeks of like mental distress, if I'm being
Oh
honest with
God.
you, because it was kind of like, I've been in situations like this where men have said something inappropriate, but not in the workplace where I go to work every single day and I have to see these people every single day, right? Because I feel like guys you meet, or, you know, generally, maybe even if it was a guy friend who said, you kind of cut them off, you know?
You do.
But like if they're in your workforce, you don't
You
have a
can't, you have
choice
no
but to
control.
deal,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Unless they get fired or something. So I was like, okay, this guy did not get the message. And I'm like, okay, initially I had my boss go set the boundary for me, right? And that didn't work. And we tried to do this like anonymous way where she kind of threatens him if he doesn't do something about it, he's going to be in trouble. And he still didn't get it. And I'm like, you know what I need to do? I need to stop being scared. I need to stop mentally accommodating, both mentally, just accommodating a man in general just doesn't
Oh,
make any
girl.
fucking sense to me.
Yep.
Like, I've just been accommodating this man. It got so bad, Taz, that honestly, in the morning when I would get to work, I'd call my little sister on the phone as I'm entering the building just so
Oh
that I
my
don't
God.
casually bump into him as I get
That's
inside.
that is appalling. You should not
Dude,
have to do
I
that.
know. And then there were times where I would go park my car at like a shopping center for like the first 15 minutes until someone came to the office so I wouldn't be by myself. I'm like, why am I doing that?
Mm.
Why, as a woman, am I accommodating this useless man who has literally no adab, who has no self-respect for women? I'm literally younger than his daughter.
Mm.
But why am I accommodating him? Why do I keep accommodating him? So it was a road of recovery. Let me just say that.
Wow. I'm keen to hear
But
what you said to him.
road of recovery, but self-empowerment as well. So I'm
Good.
reading this book, dude. Like it came at an interesting time reading this book. This thing is happening to me. And I'm like, damn, I need to say something. Like that's what I need to do. This will only be solved if I do something about it.